all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
Alrighty. The clock on the wall with the big hand say it's 1 o'clock. So welcome Tampa Bay to another Porch Talk Radio session.
Live.
Today we don't have any guests for a particular reason because for the last several weeks I've been wanting to have a conversation. And I told the gang here, I say, well, we're not going to have any guests because this is something I got to get off my heart, got to get it off my mind, and I got to have this conversation. Some of this stuff you're going to believe. Some of it you're not. Everywhere in this country, there's a courtroom. And during the course of the week, people show up for both sides. The defendants show up, the prosecutors show up, and they all have their own facts of what they believe to be factual information that they're going to present to a judge and a jury. And the judge and the jury decide who they believe or who they don't believe. Not because either side didn't present information that they thought were factual, is because of somewhere in the process, that presentation either appealed to them or it didn't appeal to them. So, this is what we're going to do today.
Porch Talk.
We're going to have that conversation with what's going on. And I have said several times over the last year, a couple of years, we have to understand how power works.
Mm-hmm.
You are watching the biggest power struggle. Let me say that one of the biggest power struggle in the history of this planet.
Oh yeah.
And real power never concedes. Let me say that again. Real power, when they're having power battles, and it's about power. It ain't about all the other kind of stuff you guys keep talking about. And it ain't about the bleeding heart and the liberal, Pabulon.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's about, and it ain't about being presidential and being a patriot and being this and being that. And all kind of good name that you choose to label disputes about based upon which side of the table you're on. Whether your guy's winning or losing or whatever the deal is. It's about when something is about power, there's going to only be one victor. And that's going to be the one with the most power. You understand what I'm saying? So, before I start ranting and raving, let me get the show started. For you guys on Facebook Live, hey, this is Eddie Adams,
share, like,
host of Porch Talk Radio, Gabriel Phillips, co-host,
live.
And Tim is here, and we're doing our thing. I mean, this combination has been together for over 10 years. So, I just want to thank you guys. Some of you guys have probably been around with us for the whole 10 years.
We're sorry.
And you've heard this or some phase of it or some part of it, before. So for those who've been with us that long and you've heard this or some phase of it, in the past, I have to keep doing certain things because we get new listeners, every week, and for the whole 10-year period, our listenership has grown. Some people fall off because they move. Some people fall off because they die. Like, when they vote, they can still be dead but still vote.
Only if they vote Democrat.
Just throwing that out there. But they may not be listening to the radio. While they're in the grave.
There you go.
Even though, like I said, they still manage to vote. So what I'm gonna do is get the show started, and then we're gonna talk about some issues. Gonna bring up some points. Some of these points, some of you guys gonna say, yeah, I understand, I believe, and some of these stuff gonna say you bat shit crazy. You know, you can say whatever you think.
It's true.
You know, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm only here to provide information. I'm to give you a point of view that you probably have not heard
Very
because
true.
you don't listen to media presentations that don't agree with the bubble
Mm-hmm.
that you live in,
Very much so.
and so you don't get much news information
To count.
outside of that. Yeah, outside of that, you really want to be right. You want to be right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you listen to news sources and people who will pat you on the back or pat you on the head, you know, and tell you you're right and that you're good and you're feeling okay and all that kind of other stuff. You know, I must say, starting the radio show off, that on Porch Talk Radio, we do not and we are not politically correct. So you got to understand that going in. We're not trying to keep you or uphold whatever your standards are. We're trying to give you a whole set of information
That's right.
that you can take and apply to other sources or other situations or other reasonable processes that you may go through when you're trying to figure stuff out. So, if you want to call in today during the show and be on the show. So if you call me on my cell phone in the next hour, I'm going to be doing a radio show. I have to keep saying this because every week somebody called me to tell me something, and now I got to stop trying to do the radio show, try to look at my phone, and then try to, you know, I can't call you back, so I either have to tell you and 100,000 other people, you know, the message that I got to give, because I did see your text, but like I say, I can't call you and talk to you about it because, you know, it's important. It's important, but in the next hour, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. But during the show, let's keep it to the subject matter. You know, if you want to start another subject matter, that's okay too. You know, we do that. We got good guys and we got bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
We got guys who call this show on a regular basis, and we like you guys.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you guys, and we love you. I'm gonna tell you. You know, it may not seem so, you know, from time to time. you know, but
Yeah.
but you know, all of us got friends and family,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. You know, the people you love the most, you know, are those who are the closest to you. But that don't mean you don't argue, cuss, and fuss with them either.
That's right.
You know, sometimes some of the biggest blowout, you know, you have is with loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, friends, family, brothers, sisters, you know, mother,
Oh, yeah.
daddy, you know, aunts, uncles, you know, that whole thing. So that don't mean they don't love you. You know, you must have difference of opinion. So we take that on wholeheartedly here at Porch Talk Radio and make sure that everybody understands that we're all on the same page. So, if you want to be on the air, so if you call me within the next hour, you know, you want to be on the air. So, we're assuming that, and we will make that happen. So, the call-in number for Porch Talk Radio is WTMP 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. If you want to call me, and evidently a lot of y'all got my phone number because somebody's trying to call every week, you know. And
That Lawson fella, I bet you.
yeah, it used to be, you know,
Willie.
used to be. We had someone here who was like, call, you know. But we know he was.
We fired him.
He was doing that in jest. He was doing that in jest. Okay, so Willie decided to come and beat up, you know, Gabriel. That's between Willie and Gabriel, you know, because, you know, Gabriel
We're professionals because he was always the eye candy around here.
do have that kind of effect on people. So anyway, so if you want to call me during the show, Eddie Adams Jr. cell phone number is 813-12. The email, if you want to email me, Eddie, EDDIE, at porchtalkradio.com. So Eddie at porchtalkradio.com. And as you guys can see, we're getting better at Face Talk Live. So
Facebook.
Porch Talk Live on Facebook.
There we go. We got it.
So we're getting all that together, you know. And I just wanted to
We
make
can't
sure,
spell it, but we got it.
you know, you got and the numbers keep improving. So we get more and more people who are actually watching us. So we're radio personalities, and we're now, you know,
We're worldwide on the web, and we're so famous.
in the image, you know. So some of y'all know what I look like, and some of y'all have actually seen me and have made, you know, the appearance or come to me and say, hey, I listen to your show. I got people tell me they've been listening to my show for 8 years.
Oh my goodness!
You know, yeah, I've been listening to
I'm
your
not even
show.
sure I've listened to it for that long.
You know, I've been listening to your show.
I'm just saying.
For, you know, for a long time. I know.
We appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, this is a long intro. You know, because the nature of the show is gonna be serious. You know, so I don't know
Warm
why.
up.
I don't know why I'm avoiding
Hemming and hawing.
how serious this show is going to be, but we're going to talk about power. Power, do not concede to a lesser power. First, I guess rule 101 about power. You never give in to a lesser power. Whatever form, shape, position, however it may come about, you don't give in to something. So power, pretty much like during a world war, it don't have to be a war. It could be any kind of disturbance or dispute. You don't give in to the lesser. It's got to be greater. It's got to be taken. It's got to be forcefully taken. So everybody's having a peaceful surrender, you know, from transition from one political party at the federal government to the other one, and for 100, 200, 300 years, however many years it's been happening, you know, all well and good. Because something has not happened, this is something I used to say when I was running for Congress. Because it hasn't happened, because you haven't done something, don't mean you can't do it. Let me say it again. Because you haven't done something, something hasn't happened, doesn't mean it can't. So what's happening now? And I'm gonna read some stuff off, you know, because I
You want to be accurate.
I listened to the last show. Matter of fact, I've been listening to radio shows on TMP all morning.
Oh.
And I tried to do that, you know, and let me say Happy Thanksgiving. You know, we're gonna say some stuff.
Buttering up right
you
here.
know, toward the end of the show. You know, because there's a lot of food given away, it's a lot of community, you know, well-being and health and folks trying to help other people going on out there. You know, but in the meantime, there's a war. There's a war going on.
Yes, there is.
You know, and the war for power in this country. And let me say something, you know, so I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. Donald Trump accordingly lost the presidential election. But the Republican Party
One big.
in the state of Florida and all over the country
One big.
won houses in the U.S. House, won seats in the U.S. House.
27 seats, toss-up. They won.
And until this Georgia thing is over with, we'll maintain the Senate. So they made gains in the Senate, they made gains in the House, and may continue to own the Senate. In the same time, where the elections all over the country, and as the previous host said, you know, Trump lost by 6 million votes. Now, what they didn't say, he could have lost by 6 million votes in California alone. I'm just
Big
saying
time.
the nature of the beast. You know, with the system we got now, it's not popular votes because several times the Dems have had a bigger, higher popular votes. But again, they got New York and California
The big ones.
and Illinois and a couple of those other states. They have more popular
Population, yeah.
people, have more people.
Yeah.
But when the electoral college meet and have their elections, January the 6th, that's when that happened. Then that's when they will have an actual president. I'm saying pro temp, but I heard the other guy say they're pissed off and they upset because they won't call Joe Biden president-elect. Well, actually, there is not a presidential elect until just for again. I think everybody walk in the court and everybody had a fight. I am telling you, until the Electoral College have the actual election, there is no president-elect.
Eddie, CNN and Fox News already declared it.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm just telling you.
And they're God.
I'm telling you, okay, according to the U.S. Constitution.
Oh, that paper.
Okay. Until the Electoral College actually have the election that determines who the next president is going to be, it is not done by popular vote. It's not done by, who gets the most votes. It's done by the Electoral College in this country. So they actually meet in January. And at that point in time, it is official. I mean, we can call. I'm like this. At this point, if you're upset because somebody calling you a bad name, and they won't call you president-elect, to me that's laughable. I'm sorry. I won it, and come January the 21st.
Oh yeah.
Not the 20th, the 21st.
It's official.
It is official, and your duties start, and you do whatever you want. The transition team and all that kind of other stuff, that's part of the power game. That if you can make somebody do something, and you need to make them do it, guess what? You make them.
And Eddie, in 2016, what you just said, they beat the heck out of the Trump people on the transition team.
Oh yeah.
They peed all over them.
Right.
They pooped. They're like monkeys down at the zoo throwing poop against the people. They did the same thing. So there was no smooth transition. In fact, they were lying, cheating, stealing, and trying to get their people to mess up somehow so they can throw them in jail. In fact, they almost did, a few of them.
Right. Well,
no smooth transition. And now they want a smooth transition?
Well, let me say something.
That was a professional sound.
People can say what they want, and I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other, because I can give less than an inch, less than a deal, whatever the deal. In 2000, when it was Bush against Gore, not Trump against Gore, Bush Gore, these same people acted like plumb damn fools. I'm just telling you. They acted like fools, and I don't care who look at it. If you remember hanging Chad, pregnant Chad, this Chad, that Chad, and at the end of the day, when it went to court, it did go to court.
Yes, it did.
And it was only one state that was involved in that whole process. And when they found out that Gore lost by 527, which was the number of votes he lost the state of Florida by, lost the election by, and it changed the history of this country, that let people know that every vote counts. And that's what they've been saying ever since then. Every vote counts. Now, but what they didn't tell you, and this is the big deal, at the end of the day, when the electoral college for the state of Florida went in 2001, which is when it had to happen. That's when they had the electoral college vote, and they passed and they cast their vote for the whole state of Florida for Bush.
Done deal.
That made it. It wasn't the 527. It was the electoral college vote that made it official and made Bush the president of the United States.
And I believe it was December the 20th when Gore finally conceded. I believe because there was some court thing happened. It was right then in that time frame. So it was always December the 20th that he conceded. Said, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, but okay. Now this whole conversation is about power. Okay. They did what they had the power to do at that time, and they lost. Okay. At the end of the game, should Donald Trump not have the power to keep the presidency of the United States of America, and some of y'all,
Legally.
Some of y'all may think I'm profane in saying what I'm about to say. Then it will happen, and a conversion will happen, and we will have a transition. And then Donald Trump will immediately start his campaign.
Oh, yeah.
For 2024. But until that point in time, because we're talking about power at its absolute form, at its highest station in the world, because whoever the president of the United States is the most powerful person in the free world. Okay, so that being stated, that's what at stake, and it's okay for people to say, I wish he would not fight anymore. I wish he would not complain. I wish he would not do lawsuits. I wish he would not do. Wish he would not do that. I didn't hear none of y'all. None of these same people in 2000 raising their ugly heads using the same logic and the same conversation. It's just strange how the same logic and conversation changes based upon your position in the process.
Stacey Abrams did the same thing, Eddie. She fought through the courts. She never conceded. She lost, but she never conceded, and she fought every step of the way. And she was nasty, she was vile, and she lost. Yeah. And never conceded.
Well, like I said, I'm saying, at some point in time, Donald J. Trump may lose this process, but he is not
giving up.
Gonna lose it laying down.
Absolutely not.
He is not gonna lose it by conceding. He's gonna lose it because a greater power came in and took it.
And we're talking the court system here, the Supreme Court.
Well, the Supreme Court, be it 6-3 or be it 5-4, if it got to the Supreme Court, then that means the Supreme Court gets to make that decision. And as everybody know, and as several people have said before, elections have consequences. Guess what? The Supreme Court is 6-3. 6-3 Republican, 6-3 conservative, 6-3 in the ideology where, based upon
follow the rules,
the past, based upon the past, if the Supreme Court made the decision, it would be Donald Trump. I'm just telling you, if it got to that point, and if it's their decision to make,
it's done.
It's done. That's a done deal. But like I say, we gotta wait and follow this thing through, because it's a lesson to be learned. It's a lesson to watch how real power works. And I'm specifically here talking to folks in the black community, because all the time it is not a good thing to give up. I mean, the battle may apparently sometime be lost, and at the end of the day, if it's lost, it's lost. But how long do you fight? I always hear people talk about it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog. That applies to everything.
Eddie, and I really believe that the Democratic Party really stepped into this one like stepping on dog poo, because the fact that they have now a president who's still the sitting president, he's their president, not only the person in the most power, but also a New Yorker fighter guy, that's all he knows is to fight. And this guy has fought. He didn't go to Harvard. He didn't go to Yale like these other big boys did. He went to a nice college, but he didn't go to the big name. He's kind of the outsider in all this stuff, and he doesn't play the political game. So again, I that's where I really believe the Democratic Party has totally underjudged this individual with his abilities to just fight like a pit bull and just rabid, because he knows that there's something wrong in what happened, and he's not going to let go. In fact, he's been awfully quiet, and there's a big picture there, but the fact that he's been letting the lawyers work it through the court systems, working through the court system, and there have been some wins. So the big picture, like you said, Eddie, the one from the standpoint of most power, until more power is brought in his direction, he's going to do what Al Gore did. He went through the court system. He did all he could there. Al Gore got quiet for a while, and then finally he lost it, and he finally said, okay. But that didn't happen until December the 20th.
Okay, now, we got a caller. I get to the caller in a second. But let me say this. The big loser in the election of 2020 is the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why. Because I got a list of shenanigans that I'm gonna go through in a little bit.
Oh.
But I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna lose your edge because all of this stuff, none of this stuff is gonna work ever again.
Uh-huh.
So what you just did
Bag of tricks.
is you threw it all out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in trying to get rid of Trump, and you may have got rid of Trump.
Maybe.
But this stuff won't be good. You won't be able to use it again because guess what? The Republican Party,
They're gonna learn.
And the good folks, you know,
They learned from Obama.
who understand is gonna make sure that none of this stuff is gonna happen again.
Absolutely.
So welcome to Porch Talk Radio, caller. This Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Hey, Eddie, this Al, man.
Hey.
Good afternoon to you guys.
Hey, my brother.
Hey, man. Hey, man. And you know what? This is a great conversation you're having because I agree with you 100%. I think this is a power fight that is hard for us to even understand because we don't understand all of the complexities involved. But you know, because it is. Man, this is two plans going to war that you know we don't really understand how deep each of them are, and each side should understand the other side has the power to do certain things.
Right.
Now, to your point though, one other quick thing I want to do, Gabriel. Yes, Trump did go to one of those schools. Trump, he didn't get in the first try. He went to Fordham for 2 years, but he graduated from University of Pennsylvania, which is one of the 8 Ivies. Okay, so he's not outside of that Ivy League crew. All right, he didn't get in on the first try, but he did go 2 years to Fordham and transferred to UPenn, which is where he graduated from. He won't tell nobody what his grades were, but he did go to UPenn, which is an Ivy.
Sounds like a Biden thing.
Biden went to state school. But anyway, so to this point, what I'm saying, Eddie, you're right when you talk about each side is looking at what each side has done in this process, and whoever has the influence to change the rules are going to change the rules.
Yes,
now,
exactly.
One thing I want you to weigh in on, Eddie, from a strategy standpoint, and where this could end up coming back to hurt Democrats. If Trump does run in 2024, and it'll be interesting to see if the Republicans will allow him to be the de facto candidate for 2024. If he does run 2024, he could potentially serve 2 straight terms if he was successful in winning another term. You could literally have 12 years of a Trump in a 16-year cycle. Who knows how to
Hallelujah.
America? Now, again, I have to fact check whether or not it's consecutive terms.
It is consecutive terms.
You're right.
It is consecutive terms.
So I think he could run potentially 8 years. But anyway, I just want to throw that out for food for thought. Thanks, man. Y'all take care. I'm going to be happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Appreciate
I'm
it,
glad
my
you
brother.
called. You made my day.
And thank you.
Woo.
And thank you for mentioning Porch Talk Radio earlier today during your show too. So thanks for that.
Man, that was a heck of a point, Eddie.
Yeah.
12 years in a 16-year
Yeah,
period?
yeah. So again, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, the nature of power.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want black folks to be offended. I want you to learn by what's happening. Watch. Now, this absolutely never happens in the hood. You know, it don't happen. You know, because you don't have that kind of intestinal fortitude to fight to the end.
Just give up and go.
Yeah, you know, because the whole community be saying, well, why don't you quit? Why don't you quit? Why don't you quit? And it's really not about power at that point. It's really about sentiments and feelings and all that other stuff. All right, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello? Hello, caller.
Yeah, this is Adam.
Yes, Adam.
Hello, Adam.
Good to hear you.
Hey, okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about raw power that you're referencing.
Yes, sir.
Is that this is something that in other times we were a country of norms and we dealt with things based upon honor. So I'm glad that you have decided that it's okay for us to embrace just a raw power grab, and that's what it's all about, so that when we continue to be divided as a country, that you won't have a problem when people talk about packing court, when they have the control of power, or when they do certain things to basically incentivize or push their party
He's right.
agendas forward. As far as president, you're allowed 2 terms, so it's not going to be 2 consecutive terms.
No, sir.
45 were to win
No.
in 2024.
If you look at the history, what they did back in 32, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who served 12 consecutive years, they said no president will ever do that again. So it was about consecutive terms. So you can't do 2 terms and then come back and do a third. Now what happened is if we got 4 years in between that, then it's not
Reset.
then it's not consecutive. But again, all that's yet to be decided. So we ain't gonna solve that issue here.
We were a country of norms prior to the current occupant, because the thing is that why didn't George Herbert Walker Bush, when he lost, why didn't he run again?
Well, again, let me say something here. The Democrats, nor did Joe Biden, defeat Donald Trump. The COVID virus beat Donald Trump. Now again, that may be an opinion, but I'm gonna tell you something. Had the virus not hit when it hit, and the economy was roaring the way it was roaring, it'd have been the greatest landslide in the history of the American election. But that's not happened. The COVID happened, and the virus is probably more often than not what defeated Donald Trump. So I'm just putting that out there. So you get the last word. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Donald Trump is going to be part of that group that he used to call losers. Like, Jimmy Carter was a one-timer. Herbert Walker Bush was a one-timer, and he's a one-timer. So you can say that COVID virus, but the thing is that numbers don't lie. The thing is that 80 million people voted for the greatest number for a challenger to a president. Now, you can spin it where he got the most votes, 45 got the most votes than any president has ever received, but he just happens to be on the losing end. And the thing is that this is very dangerous for our country, that you can't accept these results, and you have to try to win or try to subvert the will of the people based upon technicalities. And the thing is that as African Americans, we very well know about people trying to subvert our vote and do things on technicality. So what they're trying to do in Wayne County in terms of targeting a predominantly African American area in terms of Detroit, we're going to have a long memory of understanding that. And the people that support 45 and support what he's been trying to do, we're going to have a list of those people that we're going to be very mindful of knowing, and the people that enabled and that were complicit. And unfortunately, Eddie, you were the person that had a lot of respect for, but the thing is that as of late, you have decided that you're going to just go in different directions. Like when you did the thing with Sandy Merman, and you came and you had pushed that we needed to, get people that had that mindset, and it was a issue as far as with the Confederacy, and you chose to endorse her because you said she changed your mind.
Well, I'm gonna tell you let me tell you something. Most elections is about the 2 people on the ballot, and when you're making a choice, being short-sighted and not considering who that person is running against, you take at that point in time and say, okay, which of these 2 are gonna be the better people for my community, for my representation of what I think is going to be better. And at that point in time, that was an easy choice for me. The Confederate flag was an issue, and it moved on, and other issues came forth, and Sandy Merman became a person that I began to respect, like, and appreciate. So therefore, my personal choice changed. And you wouldn't even know what my vote was unless I told you. So again, at the end of the day, this is really about how we make things, how we improve. And what I'm telling you now is that the Republican Party is going to learn all these schemes, all these whatsoever. And if you continue to listen to the show, I'm going to give you some things, and I'm just throwing it out there, and it's going to be up to you to make up your mind about whether they happen, whether they did happen. But at the end of the day, we are learning. And if you're in the wild, it's no doubt who are the prey and who are the predators. And at the end of the day, that's the ultimate power struggle.
Big time.
And I'm just telling you, for all too long, the prey has been the folks in the black community. And everybody else has preyed on the black community. What I'm telling you now is look at what's happening, learn from it, understand that this battle ain't about who likes who and who don't like and trust and all that kind of stuff. It's about power. And the ultimate power battle is happening right now in D.C. and all over this country, where certain ideas and certain things have happened. And if Trump got the power to make the court, and speaking of stacking the court is now 6-3. And the Democratic apparat check is saying, well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna stack the court. So that's not the Republicans talking about stacking the court. It's the Democrat. Now, things and laws and everything being the way that they have been, we have got a 6-3 through the normal process. They saying, oh, we gotta change some stuff, and we gotta get more Democrat and liberals on the court than we currently have. So that whole stacking thing, that's a Democrat liberal concept, not the Republican.
Yeah.
So thank you for calling.
Appreciate you,
and we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
Eddie Adams.
Yes, sir.
This is Joe Robinson, man.
Oh,
Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, man. Glad to hear y'all's voice and everything. And as you say, power conceives nothing without some kind of fight.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you, I can't do nothing about the national level, but I can damn sure do something about the local black level here in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
More specifically on the west side. We're conceding nothing over here with the city, the county, nobody on the west side of the river. Don't come over here with that, because this power ain't saying it. Like you say, power concedes nothing.
Right.
We are conceding nothing. And we ain't taking no prisoners. I don't care who you is. Now, you think I'm lying? Look at my record of destruction of people trying to take over the west side. One by one, slowly being shut down. Let me finish, and y'all can talk all the rest of the
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
I disagree with it. That power concedes nothing. And that's what we see nationally, as long as you have power. Matter of fact, the Republicans had power to January the 19th at 12 midnight the last time I checked. So there's a whole bunch of deals going down. There's a whole bunch of people fitting to get pardoned. There's a whole bunch of contracts fitting to get left. So anybody leave the spot. And that's just the way it is. Now, if you're smart enough to know to do that, God bless you. But if you ain't, too bad. But nothing is going to go down. I keep saying, on this west side, don't come over here with that. Don't play that. We ain't putting up with it. We trying to have a black community around, try to degentrify what done been gentrified, and we doing the best we can with what we got, and we getting money over here left and right, regardless of who the damn president is. So all I got to say is, on the west side, we take the people over here, but we ain't putting up with no nonsense in the city camp on the west side. That's all I can say. I don't know about the east side. I don't know about the north. And I don't know about the south. I damn sure know about the west side. Don't come across this river with that mess. And y'all have a nice day, bro. And keep up, Eddie. I like the way you roll it, David. And your co-partner, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Got some smart people out there. Joe is good.
And I got to say, more often than not, folks who call Porch Talk Radio, we got some regulars who call the show all the time.
And we appreciate all of them.
And I'm going to say this. if it's one person in Tampa Bay that understands what's happening, is Mr. Joe Robinson.
He's involved.
And Joe Robinson actually said he liked you, Gabriel. So So
I was trying to keep that quiet. I was smiling, but Joe's a good man. He knows he's a good man.
So Joe,
He's a good fighter.
Okay. To continue my train of thought, and I'm gonna get on this day in and a couple other things that I gotta do, but I gotta bring this up.
Come on.
Joe Robinson, we're talking about the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
In the state of Florida, the Republicans gained seats in the House, and the Republican gained seats in the Senate. So the Florida House and the Florida Senate, we almost got a super majority in the Florida House of Representatives. You know,
That must mean the Republican ideas are working.
and I'm going to tell you something. Nationally, the Republican Party got more
A lot.
Hispanic votes than it ever has in the history of this country.
Are you saying the Republican Party is not for the working people?
I'm just saying.
Woo.
I'm saying that
Steal that
means
title.
something. Even though, Trump may have lost.
May have. We still got that may in
Yeah,
there.
may have lost. He ain't lost until January the 4th, January the 6th, whenever
There you
the
go.
electoral college vote. But Hispanic voters who have crossed over,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Biden is going to make them come back to the party. So those are votes you've lost. And all that Democrats got to keep doing, keep taking black folks for granted.
Hispanic,
You
yeah.
know, they got a bunch of blacks, but black folks turned out like they did in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And they took Biden over the. Now I'm gonna tell you what Biden got to do. He gotta forget that real quick, and do like the Democratic Party has always done, take black folks for granted. And this next election, even with all the hanky panky and all the stuff that's going on, they gonna get the biggest ass whooping that's come down the pipe. I'm just telling you.
He's got 47 years, almost half a century
Right,
of
yeah.
ignoring the black people and
Yeah.
minorities anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to work too hard on that. And I bet
Yeah.
that cabinet would be all white.
Yeah.
Old white men probably. Just like Obama had it the first time.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me go through some of this.
Oh.
Because like I say, some of the stuff you're gonna believe, some of the stuff you're not gonna believe. And
Porch Talk Radio,
We're gonna do
yeah.
it like we do on Porch Talk. Okay.
Face it.
Okay. It's a lot of stuff that's now under question. When I start talking about power, some of this stuff you may say, okay, well that's a bunch of hooey. Some of this stuff is real, some of it's not. But I'm gonna tell you, the real important part is the country, the Republicans, the elected officials, all of this stuff. Once it's used, you can't turn around and use it again. The Dominion machines. Those machines that was produced and manufactured in other countries. I guarantee you, the next election, you won't be seeing voting machines, voting apparatchiks, any shape, form, or fashion, being produced outside the United States of America, and the tallies being counted outside of the United States of America. Because that's one thing that happened. A lot of these voting machines sending votes to Spain. Now, why the hell they got to go to Spain to get it counted?
Are you casting shade on Dominion just because the owners of the company decided to leave the country and they can't be found right now suddenly?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm saying that's not a question.
They know that.
Okay. Let me go down this list. Okay, there are some polling districts, out-of-state trucks delivering ballots to polls. Now I'm like this. An out-of-state truck full of ballots showing up to be counted. I personally would kind of question that. I'm just saying this is stuff that happened. Now this is stuff that happened during this election. Now again, some of you may believe, some of you not believe. Most of the places in the media that you listen to ain't gonna say this. They ain't gonna call none of this out.
They can't.
This is Porch Talk Radio. I'm gonna call it out. Magic ballots appearing overnight after the polls had closed.
Poof.
A state illegally changing the rules and deadlines for voting.
With no authority.
I'm just saying, now this is stuff that that
Mhm.
people would say that's happened. Okay, Republican poll workers not allowed to monitor voter counting,
What they had to hide?
vote counting. Again, all this stuff is stuff that's currently under question. These are some of the claims being made by Trump. Some of these his campaign. Some of these being made by some other people. Okay,
Mhm.
again, it's out there. You may not hear it. So I'm gonna
Bring it out.
I'm not gonna allow you to claim ignorance, because there's some things you may not believe. Don't mean it's not happening just because you don't believe it. You can say, "Oh, I don't believe that's happening." Okay, but that don't mean it's not happening. All right. Republican poll workers. Okay, hundreds of counties with more registered voters than residents.
How does that work?
It don't.
Oh, okay. I was trying to add that up.
But that's like that's like saying, okay, we only got, let's keep it small. We got 100. Okay, we got 50 voters registered in this precinct.
Mm-hmm.
When the election come, you got 150 registered voters in that same precinct that only got 50 possible voters.
But as long as they're a Democrat, it doesn't matter.
That what I'm just saying. I'm saying these are situations that's happening. Now, for some reason or another, a lot of the stuff is not happening in Florida anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were some people in Florida who was in supervisor of election slots
Mm-hmm.
that are not there anymore. Now, I can't say what happens in other states. Some people in the state of Florida got fired. Some people in the state of Florida went to court. Some people in the state of Florida went to jail
Uh-huh.
based upon their actions during past
So you're
elections
saying it's illegal to mess with those ballots?
and the election process. No, nobody's got killed yet. Nobody's got elected yet, but I'm just saying. Okay, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
Good afternoon, Eddie. I'm calling from Tampa, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Before I make my comments, I want to say this. Non-party affiliate, no party affiliation. So I'm not a mouthpiece
Yes, sir.
for the Democratic Party. Now, you and Gabriel, by the way, since according to the Bible, on the day of judgment, Gabriel is going to blow his horn. Why don't you blow the horn for DJT to leave? Now, having said that,
That was a joke,
I'm
right?
glad that you have said,
I like it.
I'm glad that you said allegations. Now, we both know that the person currently inside the Oval Office has a long history of being an unmitigated liar who engages in duplicitous behaviors. You're absolutely correct that this is all about power. And I also want to say up front that there are hypocrites on both sides of the two major political parties in this country. For someone who's known to be a liar, for someone who's always looking for a way to engage in underhanded behaviors, and who's a narcissistic egomaniac, you still want to, shall we say, continue to raise doubts about certain things that took place during the presidential election. As far as things about certain, are you aware of the postal worker who was paid $30,000 by the Republican Party in his state to claim that he witnessed inappropriate activities taking place at the center where the votes are being counted? So all I'm saying is this. We know that there will be allegations made. Neither party has a clean history, shall we say, of always making representatives of the areas they come from. So I must say that even though you gave a lot of Republicans, let's go ahead and stand for what's right. And the person who's in the Oval Office, we expect to be a person of moral authority in addition to political authority. And right now, Donald John is absolutely no example of someone who engages all the time in the appropriate type of moral behavior. And as far as being a businessman, we all know about the failures of Donald Trump, the lying about his university, the failures in Atlantic City, the failure of his airline, and now, as far as being the president of the United States, his bust will not be on Mount Rushmore fight of those who have swallowed his Kool-Aid. Jim Jones is a perfect example of how some people believe in things so strongly that they will even engage in behaviors that lead to their own demise. And also for those persons who are...
Okay, we're running out of time, so we need to go ahead and finish up.
Okay. Those persons who are ignorant about world history, Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler are prime examples of how, even though initially folks are praising them and think they're the greatest thing since the first coming of Jesus Christ, we all have to be aware of what's really going on. Thank you very much for listening to my comments.
All right.
Eddie, I want to thank someone like that would take time to listen to us. That's
Right.
awesome.
Right.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of inaccuracies in what he was calling off.
Right.
Now, when he said he was a non-party affiliation thing,
Didn't sound like that, but
yeah, it
it's
sounds like
okay.
he's a liberal that has just
Yeah.
never voted Republican,
Right.
but he's not happy with his own party.
Right.
Now, that's okay,
Right.
and I understand that, but when you just kind of go on the rant that you've been listening to CNN all the time, you're like, okay, guy, everybody shuts off.
First thing I got to say is that when people call and say, "Oh, Donald Trump is a known liar," I am one to say, first of all, you've been listening. You don't know for a fact that Donald Trump has ever lied to you.
Okay,
So
now you got it.
when I'm calling somebody a liar, I know for a fact they've lied to me. The media say Donald Trump is a big liar. So now all of a sudden everybody say Donald Trump is a big liar. Because I'm telling you the nature of lies.
Uh-oh.
If you hear enough lies,
You believe him?
folks all of a sudden, believe the lies to be the truth. If they start out as a lie, they will always end up as a lie. But at the end of the day, do you have the resources to know when that person is lying to you or not? If you can't say that he lied to me to my face, then you don't know whether he lied or not. So you got to take somebody else's opinion. And that's what's happening. You got all these media, social media, and all these other folks saying, "Oh, Donald Trump is a big liar." So you just assume he's a big liar. You do not know. I'm just saying personally, because you can make a liar out of anybody. If I say on this platform enough, and I call somebody's name, and I say they're a big liar, and I say to you they lied to me, that don't mean they lied to you, because you don't know whether they lied to me or not. But I just say it, and I got a platform. And if I say it often enough, whoever that person is, I guarantee you, it's a whole community of people that will consider that person a liar. And that person ain't never lied to them. That person may not have ever lied to me, but they don't know that. I'm just telling you how it works.
And Eddie, he talked about
this is how it works.
He talked about the university, Trump University, how that went down the tubes, and the fact that the attorney general that went after him on that one out of New York had asked for some money for a donation, basically.
Yeah.
And Trump said no, and at that point he went after him. Now, also, if that's the case, Biden's cancer organization that he set up to help people fight cancer, which received millions and millions of dollars, just went to pay salaries, and that was it.
Let's get this last caller.
Another scam.
Okay, caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What say you? Hello?
Yeah, this is Jason from Tampa.
Yes, sir.
And I agree fully with what the gentleman is just saying. The thing is that Gabriel, you just did a whataboutism. And the thing is that you can't discount or you can't
Sure I can.
dispute. You can't dispute
We can do that.
You can't dispute what he said.
It's America.
There's records. Wait, let me finish, sir, because you only have.
You've got your opinion, bring it.
They have six documented bankruptcies by Donald J.
But that's not why he lost the election.
Wait,
You got to make a point.
Let me finish.
I don't have to let you finish. You forgot. This is the wrong show. Now, if I tell the engineer to cut you off, he's going to cut you off, and you're not going to finish. So you
Get
can
a
say
point.
what you're going to make, move on. Okay, and I got another caller, so hurry up.
Hi, Eddie. I just wanted to say, remember when Trump said he was going to get a new and better health plan than Obamacare, and we're all going to love it? Well, where's our health plan? There's a lie he gave to us.
No, because there are some people who actually like the plan, and some people are on, Trump don't have a new Obama plan, but they still got insurance. So again, I'm saying where you come from. It makes a difference as to how it affects you personally, whether or not you're saying he lied, he didn't lie. I'm just saying.
Trump's a lying cracker.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
All right. Next caller. All right, so good. Let me do on this day. Get this. You said Trump's a lying cracker. Okay, now.
Well, he's a cracker.
From those back in the olden days,
crackers out of Florida.
that used to mean something. So
Yeah.
So nowadays, it don't quite mean the same. So anyway, on this day, on November the 21st, 1620, the Mayflower, like y'all remember the Mayflower, it reached Provincetown, Massachusetts. The ship discharged the Pilgrims at Plymouth, Massachusetts on December the 26th, 1620. I mean, the ship got here, but for a whole month, they sat there before the folks got off.
Because the cannibals that were living here.
Well, so a lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, there's land, all right, let's get off the ship.
Yeah, no.
They didn't get off the ship. They stayed on the ship for a whole
The
nother
cannibals
month.
was an issue.
So again, this is history. So okay, on this day, November the 21st, 1789, North Carolina became the 12th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. On this day, November the 21st, 1877, Thomas A. Edison announced the invention of his phonograph.
Back in the day.
That's back in the day. On this date, November the 21st, 1922, Rebecca Felton of Georgia was sworn in as the first woman to serve as a member of the U.S. Senate. She came from Georgia.
Hey.
And that's where the Senate battle is going on.
Mm-hmm.
On this date, November the 21st, in 1929, Spanish surrealist Salvador Dali had his first art exhibit. I say that because that's about a local guy who has a local museum over in St. Pete.
Oh.
On this day, November the 21st, in 1963, a lot of you guys remember, U.S. President John F. Kennedy and his wife Jacqueline arrived in San Antonio, Texas. They were beginning an ill-fated 2-day tour of Texas that would end in Dallas. All right. They came to Tampa before they went to Texas. All right, Gabriel, go ahead.
I want to lighten the load here. It's been kind of heavy, Eddie. You've been trying to talk too much truth on people, and it's falling over them like cold water. So I'm going to lighten the load. The CDC guidelines for the holidays, risky for spreading COVID, no caroling, no loud music, no consuming alcohol because COVID knows and you are stupid. Let's go ahead and move on to California. California is issuing a stay at home. This will take effect 10 p.m. on Saturday and remain for 1 month. And of course, AOC says from the Congress, to get the virus under control, we need to pay people to stay home. Now also, the Department of Health has issued that the test cannot distinguish between live and non-infective viruses. This means that the test could not distinguish COVID from a common cold or measles. Now also, the World Health Organization says the widespread use of masks by healthy people in the community setting is not yet supported by any type of direct or scientific evidence. So folks, don't forget, and also there's another great one here by Kim Classic that she just recently posted having to do with lockdowns. Talked about, can someone show me the science supporting the 10 p.m. curfew? This is out of Baltimore. If COVID is hella contagious after 10 p.m., I need a formal press conference and support. You believe that, folks? No science at all, just control.
All right, and with that being said, at this point in time, Tampa Bay, we love you. until next week, same bad time, same bad station. When me and Gabriel will be back, we'll do this again.
God bless America.
See ya. Bye-bye.